Hello everyone, Lars here with another Writer's Rant, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And today I am here to tell you, there is a time to stop editing! Don't worry, your work is good enough to share and publish. Now granted, this statement comes after you've already written your first draft and have worked it over multiple times. The thing is, it's scary and often very difficult to take the plunge and say, this is good. My story is ready for the world to see. I was asked to address this concern by one of our viewers, and I hope to give some good advice here with this video. I wish that there were some magical words that I could say that would instill confidence and comfort in your work, to appreciate everything that you've poured into your story and to be at peace with it and say, well, it's finished. It's finished! Huzzah! However, grappling with your personal concerns usually cannot be solved by simply listening to the words from a dude on the internet. Nevertheless, I'll express some of my feelings about any finished but stuck in editing hell books that you might have. Right here from the heart are my words. You've beaten the odds. You finished an entire story. Do you know how many people never make it this far? But not only that, you've embarked on the painful process of editing. You've cleaned up the dialogue, you've cut back those prose, and you've propped up where you needed to. Your characters are who they need to be. But it's like you've run up to the finish line, and now you won't cross it. It's like you're feeling that you just can't make that final step, or that maybe you don't deserve to cross the line. My advice is honestly, stop thinking that way! Your work is good enough. You're good enough. Whether it be that you just want to share your story with other people, or if you want to be awesome and get it published, you have it in you to bite the bullet and take that final step and cross the finish line and say, huzzah, it is done! Or if you find yourself just not sure that everything is coming together, which that can honestly happen at times, even after all the work you've done, after everything you've poured into it, well, my solution is still the same. Share it with others. Push for your story's publishing. And the other people that will come into your life as a process of doing this will help your story become fully realized. You've got this. You're there. You're at the finish line. You have it in you to take that final step, and you are totally deserving of this win. Now, if that little speech isn't enough to convince you, then let me give you some solid advice to hopefully get you out of this slump and pluck your tail right out of stuck in editing hell and get it on its way. Actually, I've already given you the first and most critical bit of advice that I can for this particular problem. You need to share your story with others. Having a writing group or trusted people in your life to give you some solid feedback will help you out immensely. And if you find yourself in the unenviable position where you have neither a writing group or trusted friends to help you out, then allow me to suggest that you go out and find those friends in your life. Or if you'd rather reach out into the expanse and find those people who can help you, the subreddits r/writers group and r/writing are great places to help people to find you, critique, and workshop your story to nigh perfection. Also, please feel free to use us as a resource as well. Go to Camille's Harem and run some of your ideas and stories by us. We would love to help you out on this adventure. That's what we're here for, helping out other writers along on the marvelous journey of writing. But really, you need people in your life to help your story shine. My second bit of advice is in the words that I just used a few sentences ago: nigh perfection. I know it can be really hard for some people to hear this, but your story will never be perfect, and that is totally okay. Know when you've done a great job, and when you've done the best that you can, and leave it at that. I'm going to repurpose some marriage advice I once heard years ago. It's not about finding the perfect person for you to marry. It's about finding the person that makes you happy, builds you up, and together you can make it all work out. It's the exact same with your stories. You'll never achieve that perfect book, no matter how much soul you pour into it. The book I sent off for publishing, The Legend of the Ten Lords Knights of Halicruise, went through 7 drafts before I sent it off for publishing. And even then I was told it needs some work. And in its 8th draft, I found myself still adding in parts, revising moments, and cleaning up quite a bit of dialogue. And I still had doubts for at least 4 different chapters that they might not work. But even then I said, this is the absolute best that I can do. I sent it back, and the process thus far has been quite magical. If your story doesn't make you happy, at least in the sense that you've completed it, or if it doesn't build you up as an author, or if you feel that you can't stick it out to the end with this book, then it might be that you have to break yourself off from this project. You got to cut that relationship. Go work on something else, and maybe later you'll be able to reconcile the story and make it all work out. Or maybe you won't. But you and your future stories will be better off for taking this crucial step if you find yourself at this particular crossroads. Or maybe you'll end up remaking your story in another form like I've talked about before on other videos. But this is some really important advice. If you need to, remove yourself from this story that is stuck in editing hell and work on something else. And that's really my best advice. Get help to finish your story, know when you've done enough, and leave the project if you need to. Anything I could say more is nothing else than just gimmicks and stuff that might not even help you out. But this advice, I guarantee, will pull you through if you are stuck in editing hell. And please, if you find yourself in this situation right now where you're just stuck with a story and you feel like you've already given it your all but it still doesn't work out, reach out to us and we will do what we can to support you. Your story deserves it. You deserve it. And the world needs the stories you want to tell. Well, that'll do it for me for now. If you need more writing advice, good solid writing advice, please go check out our podcast, Camille's Harem, found on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. And if you need some inspiration, feel free to pop by our Tumblr and Pinterest, or discuss with us your work over at our subreddit. And please help us in our quest to find epically terrible fanfictions so we can do equally epic readings of them for your enjoyment. You can send us links to those bad boys via our Twitter at Camille's Harem. Finally, if you know anyone else who is struggling with their own stories, please feel free to share this video with them. And thanks. So until the next video, tschüss.